This is a good little layout. Look at
I
this.
like this. This is, it's.
Look at the hair next to the hair. I mean,
It's like
when you
the high
actually go
peaks.
side by side, this is jarring, isn't it?
Just want to make sure.
You could be his father.
Well, although he's a little small.
Yeah.
He's smaller.
Got the Roopée.
You get the Roopée.
Well, on that note, good morning, everybody.
we're live.
Well, yes, we are live, Chris. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Talk, as it is currently being called now until we come up with an awesome new name. I'm Dan. This is Ryan. This is Josh. And this is our guest this morning, a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to talk him up anyway. One of our favorite people. He comes in at 10:30 in the morning. He rock and rolls all day long, 6 days a week. His name, ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Roopée. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, fellas. Thanks
Morning,
for having
Chris.
me on.
Morning,
It's really
Chris.
good to see you this early in the morning.
Yeah, it's good to be seen.
Yeah, good, good.
First
You,
question, who's going to ask you
I was
ask?
gonna actually say if you want to give like a brief introduction for those who don't know you, just a little
Oh.
bit.
Brief.
Start off easy.
Brief like Dan.
Brief. Oh, like Dan?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll take up half the time. But so, yeah, I mean, I'll just, I'm thrilled to be here this morning and in the situation I'm in after a couple of months of working out here at the gym. Ryan and I had seen each other, I think it's after, I think it was a golf match or something. I saw you and you had mentioned to me, you go, hey, look at when you're ready. Just give me the look and the wink when you're ready. just get a hold of me. And, you know, around Christmas time, it was time to be ready. And I sent him a text, and he said, come on in and let's talk about it. And so it feels like longer than 3 months, but it's 3 months. And so, you know, what got in the way, what got me here or prevented me from doing it was fear. It was definitely all fear. It was, I had some injuries. Anyone who played, you know, some sports have had some injuries, but I kept accumulating injuries and then didn't want to get hurt so I wouldn't miss some of my other sporting, like playing a little golf and stuff. And before you know it, you're, you know, living in a prison. You're living in hell. You're not moving at all. So
Mental prison.
you definitely, then it becomes that. And honestly, I think if anyone, I would say to come here, and people I've already talked to about is with Ryan is you have to trust somebody. And I don't want to just point out Ryan because Josh, you're fabulous too.
Thank
and
you.
from what I see from Dan, he's incredible. But Ryan has been great because, you know, I was able, it takes a couple of times, you got to trust each other. And I came in and I was like, oh, my bag, oh, there goes the bag. You know, that's the, you know, the PTSD of the bag.
The famous, I'm going to go hang on the bar
Yeah,
and
we're gonna
stretch
hang
my
on the bar.
back.
Yeah, as I have a stretch, I'll show everyone if they want to see it.
Yeah,
But,
they don't.
so once you do that and you don't go into spasms and other things, then all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, we're building blocks. So that,
He does know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, a little bit. But
Question for you, and we kind of emphasize it a lot. The moment you knew you had to do something was when the light bulbs went on. You're like, shit, I can't live like this anymore.
It's PG-13 this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah.
No, there's no grand story. I honestly, I think it was we were up north with the family over the holidays, and I literally was unable to tie my shoes. I said, "This is, you know, this is a whole nother level."
Yeah.
That's honestly that as simple as that. I remember having to go to the left, and I had to do it sideways, some
Yeah.
accommodation to tie my shoes to go out and take a walk.
The toilet brush, I think, was the other one.
That was the other one.
I figured.
That was already a problem. That hadn't gotten there. It was the tie my shoes.
But I was the trick and the solution.
Yes,
I
that was a
gave it to you.
solution for if you're having trouble.
We'll tell you behind the scenes.
Yeah, right. If you're having a challenge with other things, yeah. So that honestly, it was that. I said, this is a joke. This is enough of this.
Yeah.
I can't do this crap. So
Now, I'm going to start off with a fun question and then build, like, my questions get a little harder. So when you come here and you're rocking out to your music, what is your favorite heavy metal or music albums that you like to listen to when you throw the AirPods in? Yes, I'm asking him about.
Thank you guys for adding so much value to this conversation.
I like that.
well, I will say there'd be a lot more value around here if we put them on the speaker instead of us having to throw out the AirPods.
It'd be a lot more value because there would be nobody
I
in here.
think, believe it or not, I think if anyone's listening, they'll understand it. Probably a little Iron Maiden, Number the Beast. I definitely always hit Culture Club, Century in the Making. Look at Ryan. We're not going to listen to you. Definitely hit some Metallica in there, but then I'll throw it around and move it around. a little old Def Leppard or whatever it happens to be.
Nice.
So, yeah.
We're building off this question.
That threw me for a loop.
Well, it threw you for a loop because it's like I didn't want to go like all heartfelt right away because that's my second question. So, who was one of your mentors and why did you choose them? Because with your line of work in your life, you've had to have met people over the way that added a piece of clay to your personality. Why? Who and why?
Oh,
I would say I have more than I have a lot in different ways. I think one of the things. I mean, I'm not sure if this advice means anything to anyone, but you get somewhere quicker if you latch onto somebody that you look at who's gotten there, and there's somebody they've done it the way you wish you could do it. Growing up, I had a second father, Ed Allard, who was a dynamite man. He was a very respected businessman in the community. He was friends with my family, but he took. I couldn't believe an older guy. We're a different generation, right? It's like be seen and not heard. Your parents go, "How you feeling today, Johnny?" Right? It didn't happen. We're old enough to have that. So he was the kind of man who would actually what I'm doing, even at 12 years old or 13 years old. And then it continued when I got into business. He gave me my first job over at Kmere in Glens Falls, and then even after that, we would have lunches once a month. And here's a guy who's been all over the world, been CEO a couple of times over, and a lovely man. Unfortunately, he died young, which didn't make a lot of sense and still doesn't make sense to me. But that was probably to this day. I mean, he was the most giving, generous. He was a lot like Ryan, but he had hair. It's a big difference.
success leaves clues. So if you find somebody that's done it before, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
That's my point, yeah. There's
Yeah.
no reason for you to try to struggle on your own.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. I think you have to, here you have to lean on people. You have to trust
Yeah.
people. If you're, if you're a raging just individualist, it's going to be really hard, I think, to get where you need to get.
You notice that I did not fuel the fire at the little dig that he just tried to throw at me?
No, he diffused it by just ignoring me.
So, that's kind of like what the thing we do with an over-the-top personality. You just really kind of let the Bernstein bear be by himself.
The Bernstein? Is it Berenstein or Bernstein?
Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call
Bernstein,
it.
that's-
What about the ones that play the banjo? Because that's what you remind me of. The ones that,
I think
John
it's like Chuck E.
Candy?
Cheese or something.
huh?
John Candy, you mean?
No,
Plays the
well,
band.
you don't look like
Great
Chuck.
Outdoors? No.
Yeah.
I see.
Uncle Buck?
I
Yeah.
do
He
see
does,
it now.
doesn't he?
Yeah, I do see it now.
Mixed with a little Chris Farley personality.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's him.
A handsome Uncle Buck,
Yeah,
right?
I used to take bear claws two at a time and get them lodged in this region right around here. Josh said he had a question.
Okay.
We're not
Did
going to
you
do all
cut your-
questions for me, right?
No, you can ask
yeah.
questions with us.
Yeah.
But did you get your hair cut with nail clippers today? That's what they both asked.
Well, when you
No,
have...
no, it's okay. Josh, you
Okay.
go ahead and answer that question.
Well, Josh is clearly, when you latch onto a mentor, look at Josh's hair, look at mine.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean,
We even named
Divided
it.
like this.
We named it.
The
The Roopée.
Roopée. Doesn't move.
No.
In the 3 months that you've been here, here, this is for you. Irregardless, I'm kidding.
Yes,
I'm
thank
kidding.
you.
I'm kidding. Regardless if it's been inside or outside, what do you think has been like the most success? Like, do you think you've been able to pull something from here and take it outside to your life, or do you think it's just everything is working together?
If I understand your question,
Yeah.
is there some
That's a little-
symbiotic relationship between what we do
The
and what we do?
consistency and the struggle that you have here
Yeah.
versus the consistency and struggles you might have outside.
I think for anyone who's struggling to get where they want to be, it's impossible not to bring them from the inside to the outside. If this is what we're talking
Yeah.
about, right? Into work, being a good husband, father, that kind of thing. I think all that is together. Confidence, feeling you're accomplishing something, because you can do it in one part, but
Yeah.
then it's not healthy, right? You can fool yourself to be very successful on the business side, or other people who just come in here and that's all they do and they don't work on the other side. I've already had to challenge some other people that we met in here. It's like, you can have your head in here all day, but that's not, to me, that's not, and he hates the word balance. He'll say that all the time. But I see that when people say work-life balance, it's kind of a silly thing. But I think that kind of symbiotic relationship between, you know, we call it, and even in our business, we call it health wealth. You know?
How do you think people can develop that confidence though? Because I think that's a big struggle is you say like, hey, we're looking for trust. You trust somebody else to get us from point A to point B. You lean on that person. At what point in time did you develop that confidence that like, hey, this is something that I can do? Because I think that's what developed that momentum. Because I think that's where everybody's going to struggle. They're going to start, they're not going to get the results they want, instant oatmeal, and then they kind of take their foot
Yeah.
off the gas. Was there a point for you that you were just like, shit, I got this?
Well, there's the first part. Let's jump in the deep end, right? And it's only like I said, it's only been 3 months since I was
Sure.
doing this. It feels like it's been 2 years,
Yeah.
and that's
Join the club. I mean, it's
not
very
about-
tough
well,
for me.
It's got to be extremely tough.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the nice byproduct, you get to see me all sweaty and, you know, performing at a high level.
Yeah.
That's good.
Athlete.
Yeah, athlete. So I think you just have to. I think it's different for everyone, and that was one of the questions I was going to ask you guys. You know, I mean, I think the hard part's got to be is how do you tap into that somebody's reservoir to do that? You know, because you may not get it the first time, the second time, the third time. It's like, for me, it's easy because I've always been a goal-oriented guy. So if I can see something, and we've said we're going to go there, and it happens, we want to do it again. We want to do it again. We want to do it again. But more importantly, now I believe.
Yeah.
Now that's the hustle one. I thought there was I believe somewhere. But
Is there R. Kelly somewhere? Like, I believe I can fly?
like,
You know?
that's
Oh, he's
great.
in the bathroom.
Put R. Kelly with my name. That's a hell of a branding opportunity for Solid Point Wealth Advisors LLC.
Quick plug.
So that would be. I'd turn that over and ask you guys. I mean, how do you? I mean, there's different people. Different people are all obviously wired differently, and you can think if you push somebody too hard, you know, or push them in the wrong way, you'll push them out of here.
Yeah.
Versus somebody else, you can't push them hard enough. I'm more like that.
Yeah. What do you
Right.
guys think?
We always try to, I don't want to say pick them apart in a negative way, but I think everything with the question I asked you before, you apply the same things, whether it is to work, whether it is to your family, whether it is to just the exercise here. It's like, you know, you're always going to start at point A. You know, how did you get there from, you know, your first job as a kid to the point you're at now? It's just like the consistency. I always just try to like bring that out of them because they're not going to recognize it really, but when you really just like kind of hammer them with it, I guess it's always the same thing. It's like, how did you get the job that you're at now?
So consistency, you're talking about, right?
Yeah, but like getting it out of the person is to make them think about it for a second. You know, constantly just ask them like, how did you get from here to there? Or with something we always ask.
Can I add, like an add-on to that is,
Yeah.
so what happens if it's not working? So you got, let's say you're doing that, like
Yeah.
it's already worked for my first 10 people. What are you gonna do after that?
Got to find kind of what
So
lights
what-
that fire inside of them.
Yeah. So you
It's
just keep
also,
trying.
yeah,
what you're
it's
saying?
the more trust and the time that you spend together is where you start to learn about the little pieces that you can kind of poke at to see what gets them.
I also
you know,
think
really
emotionally too. Like, I can't be so invested in someone else's success if I'm only going to see them a half hour a day. They're responsible for themselves 23 and a half other hours. I think younger me would have worn that more, would have ate up or, you know, been a byproduct of their lack of effort. I think now relinquishing that pressure that I would put on myself as a trainer to say like, okay, I can control everything that they can do. The best thing about a person like you is we just gave you a flashlight and we walked with you. You walked your own path. Nobody was standing behind you and slapping bad food out of your hand or a drink out of your hand. Nobody did that, right?
Maybe a drink.
Right, but I'm saying, like, I think the hard part for most people is we have to ask questions.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how as important is this to you? 7, okay, 6, 5. If it's a 5, 7 or less, well, you're going to get 5 or less results.
But isn't everyone's truth? Everyone's truth is also their veneer.
Sure.
I mean, that's how they've gotten there, or they've gotten to where they are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so how do you? Sometimes you have to pull through that, right?
Well, it's like almost like an interrogation where, like, you're really
Well,
peeling back the onion layers.
Only way you're making a step forward is you got to get to that emotion.
But I
rawness,
also think
vulnerability,
giving
whatever
them
you call
permission
it.
to fail.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a bad day, I'm not going to be the one that's going to beat you up and say, Chris, you know what? I don't think this is going to work, man. I might beat your ass because you want to hold court and then I can hold court. I think that's a fair comparison. But I'm not going to quit on somebody. That's the one thing that I'll always be there. But I think with them, you have to ask questions that you already know the answers to, but you got to get them to say it.
Yeah.
So that way it's more believable. I can't say, Chris, listen, I'm going to lose 80 to 100 pounds. I asked you what your goal was. You told me. I might give you a little bit of an influence, but like, hey, Sport Clips isn't the way to go.
Why, when you can do it yourself? It's dynamite.
Wow.
You just buy a Flowbee at 4 a.m. when you're...
Flowbee, I love the Flowbee.
Clearly, you overused the Flowbee.
Sure, but listen, do you know what a Flowbee is? Side topic, it's a blow dryer and like
And a hair cutter.
Yeah,
It's
at the
It
same time.
connected to your vacuum cleaner, so your mom could cut your hair and not have the mess all over the
Yeah,
floor.
it's like the
Innovative.
dog one. I mean, Petco uses them now,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I'm sure they bought up all the Flowbees at Petco. Yeah.
You're up.
All right, cool. Next question. So, what do you think are some of the factors behind your driving success in here, and what are some of the nuggets that you could give other people that might inspire them to get up off the couch?
Well, that's, again, I think it's the hard to motivate somebody. So in my situation, getting off, not tying the shoe or whatever we want to call it at the moment, you know, the drive was there on every other part of my life. I guess it's a hard question to answer. Other people who
Answer on your side.
have
On your
had-
side.
So I would say that you know, whatever moment it is to get in here, and once you get in here, I think if you can have measurable results, because without what are we doing? We're driving in the dark, right? So,
Sure.
and it's all different for everyone. I mean, we've argued about, you know, before it's like, what was on the scale this week? It's already 12, 13. It doesn't matter. It's like, oh my God, wow! I just popped off the floor without you know, doing the rollover and the 5 elbow. You know, and that's great because that's making not just little jumps; that's huge jumps back.
But I think it's our job too to communicate those progress moments.
Yes, and you do.
I will remind you,
You do a
Chris.
very
Do
good
you
job.
remember
Yeah.
3 weeks
Do you
ago?
remember you had these 4-ounce barbells, and you know, we use those in our toddler class. Remember those? And now you're throwing around 25s. You know. 35s, sorry. What were they?
I don't know. Was I
50s?
there that day when you used that heavy weight?
Well, I don't want to do it in front of Josh.
Okay, good.
Little Josh and me, you know, I'm his mentor.
Unspoken beef.
Do you think nutrition is more important or the workout is more important?
I think they're equal. I mean, goofy. I thought it was goofy when you gave me the metabolism diet.
Sure.
And actually, it was hard the first couple of weeks.
Did you want something that was easy?
No, right, and that's what you would say. Thank you, you're doing this to me again. So I really appreciate that. But no, it wasn't. But then it became easier. And
Did it become easier when you started to see the results on the scale?
the results were, yes, and then you eat more, you can eat as much, and you're losing more. And so it's not, you know, some of the stuff you take with a grain of salt you've heard before is, oh, if you just did this, or there's a gummy, or there's something else, and this stuff just works. You know, but it's the combo. There's
Yeah.
no question about it, because, you know, at the end of the day, what you're doing is I think what you're doing is restarting your body. You've gotten to a bad place, regardless of what it's with, combination food, drug, whatever your drug of choice is. It can be food, or any illicit drugs, or even legal
It could be
ones.
exercise.
It could be anything if you do too much at once. So I think it's clear it's both. Right? Without the other doesn't do anything. I think we've talked about this, and that'd be interesting. It was another thing I would ask is, you know, everyone always wants to know what's that end goal. When are we done? You know, is this just a fad? Am I going to do this so I can go and I see him shaking his head, but so if we get, you know, to that point, is there a difference with maintenance or not? And you're asking kind of that question. Do they just go hand in hand? How do I go back to, I'm not using the term balance, because I don't want you to have your head pop off. But how do you go into a different mode? Like somebody who shows up 3 times a week and does your classes, which is good, keeps them in decent shape. They've got a lot of other activities. I mean, there's a transition period from maybe
Sure.
initial bold goal to, okay, how am I going to live my life now?
Josh, I'll let you have the floor because I'm going to probably explode my head right now. Go ahead. I'm just trying to like diffuse myself from that question.
He doesn't like that, no.
You know?
Well, I gotta think about that.
Do you want me just to go?
Yeah, I think that's.
Why is there a maintenance mode? Why do we have to go back and do the things or take our foot off the gas of the success that we've obtained by putting in the work, being disciplined with food, making those decisions? I think we fail as trainers by not instilling that regimen to be like more of a lifestyle change rather than a fad, rather than a quick fix, rather than a 4-week plan, rather than this 6-week diet plan. That's where I think you'll see the roller coaster ride in people. They'll be super successful, super disciplined, 6 weeks, and then go back to those old habits and tendencies that got them to be so unhappy. That is our fault.
I think
1000%.
Yeah, well, I guess that was part of the question is that also the relationship has to evolve.
Sure.
Right? In the beginning, it's like, okay.
We'll hold your hand, but
Maybe not
then
drill sergeant, but you're going to be much more about you can actually. It's easier when your path is this far in front of your face.
Sure.
So we got to do this every day. You got to stay to that. We got to work the plan, and then after that, it gets a little more. It's like taking the kids off the training wheels the first time they let the bike go and they go.
But it also challenges the fact that we do that in so many other capacities of our life. You're going to go to school for 4 years to hope that you get this dream job and cross your fingers, but I can't commit to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So why are we so far-sighted when it comes to the prototypical process of life, but we can't do what's most selfish and take care of ourselves for 4, 6, 5, 6, 8, 10 months?
So that's like what I was saying. It's like,
Bullshit.
you could do it with your work, you could do it with raising kids, you could do it with whatever, but what's the difference between like putting yourself first and kind of, continuing to do that? So at the end of the day, a lot of the people that do come in here have families, you yourself included. Your kids might be a little bit older, so you don't see them as often or have to do as much. But like at the end of the day, what's like the hardest thing that you have to do that, sometimes you do go, I still gotta do this, but I'm gonna keep going. Because sometimes, it could be the super late night, it's 8 p.m., you gotta go to bed by 8:30, it's like, but I still gotta eat. Some people just be like, screw it, I'm gonna go to bed. But even that will snowball and kind of throw them off the rails.
It's hard, yeah. I mean, well, right. You have to have certain things that are your no-go zone, right? Got to eat every 4 hours. Period. End of sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get it. And then this is the crazy thing we talk about. I used to talk about with people who work for me and worked with about habit. And you and I have talked about this before. Is when you build a habit, then it makes you completely uncomfortable if you're not
in that habit.
living in that zone.
Yeah.
And that's like work. We talk about the one, and we bring it up, we talk about the time somebody who works 60 hours a week, and all of a sudden they cut them down to 50. They look and go, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do with myself all week. And conversely, you take somebody who works 20 hours a week, and we need you here 5 more hours, they can't breathe. I don't have time to cook, I don't have time to sleep, I can't. That's habit, right? Once you get into a habit of what you expect, how you do this. I think you brought up something, you actually said something in your sentence, which I think that this thing could be.
I said something.
You're welcome. No, actually, what I was going to pull out of that, Josh, I love you. I mean, you're my little man.
You actually said something in your sentence.
Well, it's nice to see that Josh was not bored of
Yeah, I know.
Hold on. He's usually, I'm sorry, he hasn't glossed over it.
I'm trying. This conference is really kicking today.
It might be worth talking. If anyone's been here and you've been up to the bar here, right, and I was telling a story, which maybe I was going on, but it was actually in the first 5 minutes of a story. And we look over at Josh, and Josh is on his phone, he's doing this, and I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, you lost me a long time ago, I'm bored. I met a lot of people that haven't been always bored of what I'm saying, but thanks, Josh. I mean, that really hurt. And clearly it still hurt. Well, what I was going to say, based on that really great nugget you had in your sentence, was I think that this is, especially if you're coming to make a big change in your life, it is a selfish endeavor. And you have to embrace that fact. Right, and so you can talk about. You said my kids are older. Even though without my wife, my kids probably would be on the street. But I mean, in that role, you always have another role. Like I have to do that. That's more important. Like you have to so many priorities. You actually have to. Yourself comes last. Mm-hmm. Even though you think, oh wow, it's great. You're out playing golf. You're racing that. Whatever you're doing in your free time, you're really not doing anything for yourself.
Sure.
And so this has to be, I think for anyone, they have to just get comfortable with the fact for the first bit, this is a very selfish endeavor.
Talk about
It has to be.
obstacles, because I know it hasn't been all rainbows
No.
and butterflies.
No, well, part of that selfish thing is that you got to look at your loved ones, and whoever depends on you, and you have to say, look, this is going to be, even at your work and stuff, priority. You have to. This is going to go on my calendar. It's no different from a prospect, client meeting, whatever it happens to be. It's going to happen, hell or high water. I've not missed one, right? And that sometimes is not always easy.
He texted me, what was it, last Saturday?
Yeah,
It was like, was it 12:30, 1 o'clock?
yeah.
Hey man, is the gym open today? Is the gym open at 12:30, 1 o'clock on the Saturday?
It can be.
And it's not. So me and the two Cujos,
Yeah, watch out for those dogs. You lose a hand around them. Woo!
we were grocery
These guys are like
shopping.
30 pounds.
We were grocery shopping, and I came in and let him in. I would have drove 5 hours because that's an internal motivation. No, but that's internally motivated.
You're also getting me misty.
Oh, well.
I mean, thank you.
Tissues up on the bar.
Okay.
But internally motivated, like,
course.
I didn't have to put gas in his tank to be like, hey, Chris, did you get your cardio on today? Like, he reached out to me. So, of course, if I could be a conduit to his success, sure, I'm going to come in and stop what I'm doing and put my life on hold just for Chris, because that's the type of person I am.
There's no question. You are. You're
I'm
dynamite.
just kidding.
You're dynamite. So tell me a little bit more about how good you are.
We have a separate show. It's called Selfishness. And,
When's that on?
It's on Sundays.
It probably is a full
Right
crowd
after-
scene to try to get. There's not enough room. in
Right
the
after
place.
church.
Oh, it's right after church.
Yeah, see you there. But talk about some of your obstacles. I know vulnerability has been a big thing. You opening up and saying like, hey, I've struggled with this in the past. How do you think you opening up and identifying some of those things has helped you to where you are right now?
Just getting my motivation in Josh right now. He's looking at me with those puppy dog eyes.
He's got a little.
Now I see why the women like you. You got that thing about you.
Yeah.
This is the same look that Ryan was
Giving
giving
Tom.
Tom.
Like I'm really low, Tom's really high, and I'm looking like the dogs.
It doesn't help that you're 5'7" and I'm 6'6". So other than that, yeah, there's 6'6".
6'6".
6'6".
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, look at my pants, don't even fit. But that's another reason. There's a bunch of stuff in there. I think all of us have our own things that we're battling, but to start on the vulnerabilities, I'd say like, you have a life. Your life is not just you. So if you're going to be selfish and try to come in here and do what you need to do, you got to also make compromises too, a little bit. And most people that I know are going to struggle at all or nothing, and that's what I've always been. Right? It's all or nothing. So it's like I'm on the program. I can't. Well, you're going to have to modify and do things because you have a spouse of 30 years who you love and adore. Hope you're watching that. Happy anniversary. So we have to accommodate a lot more than that. It's not reasonable to think that we can do whatever we want anytime we want to do, or that's not really a fulfilled life.
Sure.
Right? So, and then a part of vulnerabilities as you're talking about, I mean, I think you and I have talked about this, and I'm very happy to hear you're going to therapy. I've been going to therapy for a very long time.
That was actually my next question.
Yeah.
We've been sitting here talking for the last 30 minutes about the physical benefits, but there is the mental maintenance that needs to be done, and we've had some very open and blunt discussions at the bar.
Yeah. Boring Josh.
Boring the fuck out of Josh.
Yes, true.
You were one of the first people that I've heard openly, other than like maybe ourselves, discuss, I'm in therapy. It's like, okay, tell us about the benefits of therapy and why you think that more people ought to find themselves unpacking their garage, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot in there, obviously, and we have.
There was a couple nuggets there, huh?
Yeah, those are very good. Because this is a man who's in touch. I mean, we can spot each other on the street. Very enlightened men. My women in my house would not say that, but that's okay. I love you anyway. So, yeah, I mean, we could be here for 2 hours in one of those things, but I think just to summarize it, I mean, I felt like when I started therapy, again, I rarely go anymore because I'm, of course, cured of whatever ailed me. But when I went originally, it was about expectations. It was when my wife was pregnant with our oldest, and I just found myself depressed, and I had no idea. There was a disconnect between my feelings and who I was and who I thought I was. And so the mind has an interesting way to do that. They're like, I don't want to be the father that I had. I couldn't articulate that. I didn't understand it. So that's where it started, the journey. It was started by an ailment, and with the same thing with the gym, I think mental health thing comes into play, because the only way it's successful is you say, I need help, and I got to go find it, and I can't do it myself.
Is that one of the big signs of strength or weakness, in your opinion?
Oh, it was weakness definitely 25 years ago, but now it's a strength, and that's the same reason I'm open to be able to talk about it. I'll talk to anyone. I can remember just starting to talk about it after probably 10 years ago, and
People are like, you're
and they're like, heck you go to fucking therapy. I go, oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, the nice byproduct of, really starting to learn about yourself, or pushing yourself, or getting past some of the marbles that are getting in your way in your head, is that you become better at everything, and all of life. And I feel like that. You're able to be more empathetic with your friends.
Yeah.
In business, you can read a room better. You just become, you're if you have an EQ anyway, it gets even stronger. So there are benefits other than that, other than the fact about how about living in your own skin happily, and realize that we're all kind of connected in some way. And this isn't some weird crystal discussion. It's just simple that I think everyone could use therapy. And I think that this is a form of it here.
Yeah.
Right? We come in here, and I played sports most of my life, and I've done it at a decent level. But
You used to box, right?
Boxing's something I had to quit because I was so well equipped to do it. It's a very inside joke. We're not talking about it. Maybe next time I come to Coffee Talk,
We'll do like a demo.
We'll do a demo.
Yeah,
we'll do a demo of the boxing.
Yeah. The kitty cat.
Yeah, I do it.
Kitty.
No, maybe if you didn't do it after I did arms.
So to be fair, and anyone out there who works the grind will know this. Let's make sure we're literally the last 5 seconds of a 45-minute rip out, and let's go box. Boxing's easy.
Sure.
It's like taking a walk, right? And then you do pitter patter.
1, 2, 1, 2, like he's knocking on a door. Okay, hey.
Honestly, the best part about it, I'm so tired I don't even care. He goes 1, 2, and he's getting a 2-1.
Yeah, I'm almost getting one in the chin.
I almost threw him down a few times, and I go, oh, so it's that bad I couldn't take you out, right? He goes, well, you almost got the button.
There was one thing you said, too, a while ago, piggybacking off therapy. There was a book, a 7-minute meditation book, which kind of triggered me into doing something for you to help me.
Yeah.
One thing that I don't do enough of is I don't read.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of my books, so I wanted to say, like, hey, I wanted to read more. So one of my goals was to read one of the passages every single day in the Daily Stoic. So I bought Chris a copy, so that way he would start kind of carving out time out of his day. Yeah. And I would challenge him, hey, what'd you think about the passage today? And he'd come up with some bullshit answer where, like, it was probably like 6 days ago, this passage, and that's the one I read to him, like a little kid in story time. But for the most part, he's fair.
It's fair enough.
He would come in some days and be like, hey, the passage today was blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to go into what I challenged you about reading, and not calling book on tape reading, like actually using your eyes and to read.
Well, the thing that I struggle with is to be selfish enough with my time to say, like, hey, I'm going to sit down and actually read a book.
Yeah, we'll do it before bed.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, well, I just think it would be good. It might open a few of those synapses, not be so linear.
Okay, yeah, let's go to therapy for that.
I mean, all right, you got, if you're a 5-tool guy, you're 4.5.
Okay, I'm almost there then.
You're almost there.
I'm getting recruited.
I'm
getting recruited.
Reading more than a paragraph a day would be good.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
I read people.
Small accomplishments, we build off them.
Yes, right. So
or we could just magnify my mistakes and my downfalls, which typically what we do.
The father-son duo over here has definitely got this division. Right?
Yeah.
Noticing that when Josh is slowly going over to Papa.
Boy, you're doing great.
If your hand was a little higher, that'd been.
Was that the uncomfortable zone?
Getting there.
Yeah,
Red. B, 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 A.
You're still young enough that there's things that just happen, right? You don't have to kind of control them. There you go, son.
Let's talk about wrapping the show up.
Let's go work out. Let's start with boxing.
Dan, ask a final question, Reader's Digest question. That's going to make him talk too long.
I mean, after.
Oh no, it's my fault. Okay.
No, it's usually me.
Yeah,
Today
yeah,
it's
no.
you.
I know, it's me.
It's not me. It's you. Okay.
Right, Sally.
Well,
Oh, that's what.
so, thank you. I don't know. Eye contact. It's hard sometimes. I love you too. Okay. All right. So I usually like to ask this question. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what would you say to him? What is one bit of advice in order to enlighten him on life?
He did say one bit of advice.
Yeah, I was going to be flippant and say, why'd you get married at 25? You know, a lot more
Happy anniversary.
She gets one nugget, one nice thing.
Yeah,
later. Because of what I said about, and shared with everything that I've done, I don't know if there's, I also believe your journey's your journey, and get off the path, do that stuff. I'm sounding a little Buddhist, I'm not trying to, but I don't know, other than probably, I would have been a little more selfish with my health. That's it. That's the only thing I regret. Like I said, I've always enjoyed being active, play sports, and life got in the way of that cumulatively, and it'd be ups and downs. And so I wish I just had never gotten off the tracks. And I would have whispered, it's a lot harder once you do get off the tracks, and you're going to miss some time that you enjoy playing those types of sports,
Son?
From the point that you started to the point that you're at now, you don't have to get in-depth or detail, but how much weight have you lost in total? In, let's say, 3 months, I guess, gives people a good perspective of time.
I didn't weigh this, I don't know, like probably 55 pounds. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's not 55 pounds that you think you do. It's redistributing, I'm standing, all the things are very positive.
That's the thing, people hear like the 55 pounds and they expect it was just like, it's all this work that led up to it, and then one night they just shut it off. But obviously, you had your weeks of 5, you had your weeks of probably 2, you had your weeks of 1. It's all together. And
He's had a week where he's went up.
Well,
Yeah.
1 week, and that was actually the best week to have.
But it's showing the consistency that goes to it.
Yeah, and it's the byproduct. At first it was, I'm coming in here, and I said to him, and because the scale's all that matters, and I said, this is ridiculous. I've become a young Jabba the Hutt, and I can't move, so we're going to lose 100 pounds. 100 pounds, it just sounds crazy. Where do you start? And so now we're not really talking about the weight as much. It is, I need it as a scorecard, but it's just everything else. I'm carrying myself different. I haven't had a bad, knock on wood, all these things. We've moved past all the stuff that would have been kind of not a trigger, but would have been a pitfall. And I would have said, oh, I'm done. Hey, Ryan, I'm done for a couple weeks. Backs out. Whatever backs out means. But so, I think that it's changed to that. The results will come if I do the work. I trust the process now.
What was one of the first wins that you saw? I know it was.
Again, isn't this PG-13?
No, not that.
Oh, not that win.
No.
Oh, I thought that was the.
He comes in one day, and he's got sweatpants on, and he lifts up his pants, and he goes,
Oh, that's true.
I got an ankle. I can see my ankles.
They were getting cankly. And so now you got some nice ankles.
I love in fact, if you could hold up your shoe real quick for the camera, about last week, Ryan noticed that he was wearing new shoes. He goes, yeah, I had them in my closet. My Barney Rubble feet couldn't fit into them. Look at these things. They're great. And it's
they are. And they fit. They're pretty nice for cheapos.
What's the one piece of advice you give to the person that's sitting on the couch right now watching? I was kind of in the show with that.
I think it's, if anything, again, I hate that. Why am I doing that? That's my pet peeve word.
Listen, you trigger it. I hear it.
I know. So I would say, as we talked about before, you asked who your mentors and stuff like that. If you get anything out of anything, it can be done. You just got to get up. You got to go do it. And if you're scared of it, you should be. So maybe that's one of the things you say is it is a frightening, scary thing to get off the couch or whatever, get out of your comfort zone.
Because you don't know what's on the other side or what the work entails, or
You don't know how, you can envision what you want, but you don't know how you're going to get there. It's the same reason people go to the Olive Garden, quite
Hey, I have a
frankly,
question,
because
though.
it's the same here as it is in
I have a question.
Lakeland, Florida.
so if you drive out to Buffalo right now, right?
Yeah.
If you drive down to Florida, you have a destination in mind. Do you know how you're going to get there? You just drive, right?
Yeah.
There's a GPS that'll take you and, hey, guess what? There might be a detour where you have to get off this exit and go here.
Yeah.
But I think it's the same process. Why are we willing to do that, but we weren't willing to take the chance on ourselves?
Well, because you know what? The answer is very simple. Anyone, no matter what, gets in their car and drives.
Sure.
And there's a safety cocoon.
Yeah.
You're getting out of where you don't want to be, or you're not comfortable.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. I would end saying here to anybody is that all three of these guys, and I watched them, they care so much. They're dynamite. Ryan has been, a godsend for me. It's equal parts drill sergeant and equal parts, loving mother when you need them both. And I say that this is serious. I'm making a serious statement.
Okay.
And I think anyone who is listening out there and wants to is any three of these guys. They will take the time to know who you are, find out and help you. They're going to be your guide, and that's what you need. You can't do it yourself. You just can't do it yourself. I mean, you can't do it. You may have even been somebody who'd been in the gym 10 years ago or in shape. You need somebody who's actually going to be your mirror and look at you and tell you the truth. And is going to be able to help get you somewhere. And the other thing is these guys, whatever these workouts, as hard as they are, they're different and interesting. So if you're challenged with boredom and stuff, other than the cardio, shit, 45 minutes. But I would say that's what would do it. Know that you're going to have a guide here, and each of them are here waiting for you, and they're dynamite. They're worth their weight in gold, boys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
That's the nicest thing he's ever said to us.
It's
I was waiting for something at the end.
Yeah.
Well, you already know.
Okay. Beep.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's where we go.
I hope your mom's watching.
My mom or his mom?
Oh no. This is an average Saturday night for Josh and I.
Yeah. Next week on Coffee Talk, we don't have anybody that's better than Chris. End of show.
Thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you guys. If you
Thank
have
you, guys.
questions, ask Chris. Feel free. He is the Berenstein Bear.
Yeah, there you go.